Hey everyone, Sebastian with Seabass Outdoors. A lot of you have asked me to do a video on how to drop shot with a fish finder off a boat. This is part one. It'll be fairly simple and fairly quick. Some good tips that a lot of people forget. Here's my drop shot setup. I have a medium fast action spinning rod, 7 foot or longer. The important part is when you want to drop shot off a boat and mark your bait, you want to leave yourself a fair distance. Most of the time, the bottom of where you'll be drop shotting, your bait will sink. You'll lose a few inches of line. It's important to be able to see the bait off the bottom. So I leave myself around 18 to 12 inches. I never go any shorter than 12 inches. I use a small hook and about 8 or 6 pound of fluorocarbon. Hey everyone, moving on to the settings and how to utilize your fish finder to drop shot. What's important here is your settings on your fish finder. I prefer Humminbird. I'm very loyal to them. I idolize them. I believe they're innovative with anything they do, and a lot of companies follow. Humminbird settings, they're similar to any other settings that you'd be using with the other units. 2D sonar, most of them you have the option to be 200 hertz, 83 hertz, or both. When drop shotting and marking your bait, for more realistic time frame, if you want to marking your bait, you want to be at 200 hertz. Your settings, and I'm going to move the camera here. Your settings, the most important settings, and I keep going back to this, is fish ID. Turn it off. Learn how to fish. Learn how to mark and mark fish and identify fish properly. What Fish ID will do is they'll beep and send a signal saying, "Oh, there's a fish here," because I marked something. Sometimes it could be a piece of weed. It could be a small bait fish. It could be a floating piece of debris. Turn it off. Learn how to identify a fish and what a fish looks like on your fish finder. Get familiar with it. Another tip, moving on to the next tip, is switch fire on the Humminbird. You want to be in max mode. Max mode will allow you to mark your bait, mark your fish. If you're into clear mode is mostly for identifying bottom and nulling anything in the water column, or tries to anyway. So stay in max mode. Surface clutter, I leave it at 1. I don't really play with this. Now, moving on to the next tip, and that's what a lot of people have a hard time to understand, is different lakes, different water density, different water clarity, different current. What's important is your sensitivity. Anytime I drop the trolling motor and I go drop shotting, the first thing I try to do is mark my bait with it. That's how I adjust the sensitivity. So if I don't mark my bait, I up the sensitivity. I know that if I mark my bait, I will mark a fish. Now, sensitivity, like I said, in different water, different bays, different lakes, will have to be adjusted. That's about it. Moving on to to part 2, you'll be able to see me catch fish with the fish finder. I hope you like. If you have any questions or comment, send them my way. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Now, if you want to go check the next video on how I'm catching fish with the fish finder, go enjoy it.